only a few more days of this year. Every year around this time I get kind of an itch to clean my house. In Japan, that's the custom. Spring cleaning isn't really so much of a thing, but New Year's cleaning is a big deal. You clean your home, you try to pay off all your debts to the extent that you can. You try to clean up one year so that you enter fresh into the next. It's, arbitrary in a sense, as all these things are, but it doesn't feel that way. It carries the energy that we kind of naturally have at the end of the year, this sense that something is going to change, and it turns it into something very concrete. So when you wake up on that first day, on January 1st, everything's a little bit tidier. Everything is in order. And maybe it will fall into chaos. Maybe it will all go downhill from there, but you've created that starting point, and it feels good, it feels right. So what I want to say tonight is very simple. And it can start by saying, just this custom is very nice. So if you feel any inclination in the next few days to clean your house and straighten things up and maybe throw away some things that you don't need, that's an important part. I guarantee you that will feel good. There's a reward in that. It's instant. But I'm not meaning this in such a concrete way, not really. I think the question for each of us is, what are we holding on to as we pass from this year into the next? What do we have in our hands? And what can we put down? I suspect it's a lot. I suspect it may be more this year than it has sometimes in the past. I know that I'm not alone in wishing, even though I know it's not rational, for something new when the clock strikes midnight and we leave 2020 and we enter 2021. This year has been a lot. It's been heavy and it's been intense. And I have a desire to kind of wash it all off and start over. And of course, we'll wake up on January 1st and the things that made this year hard will not have changed. Not yet. And so if there's going to be a change, if there's going to be that feeling of starting fresh, it has to come from us. It has to be something we choose. It has to be something that we let go, something that we put down. So what can we put down? I've been thinking about the difference between desire and attachment. When we talk about the Four Noble Truths, we usually say that suffering is caused by desire. What we're really talking about is attachment. That doesn't mean that Buddhism smiles on desire exactly. But we can be sophisticated enough to notice the difference. There are things that we want that aren't a burden in the wanting. And I'll offer just a really stupid, mundane example, which is, this is very much about me. I don't have a lot of pants that fit. I used to have these pants that would go with the outfits that I would wear as a priest with samoe, and they all wore through because they were never that great anyway. And then somewhere, when I wasn't looking, somewhere between ordination and now, pants got really, really skinny, and they drive me crazy. So I'm always on the lookout for pants. And if I go to Value Village, I'll always go through and I'll look for some pants that I like, that fit right. And I usually don't find anything. Every once in a while I do, and when I do, there's this very specific kind of fulfillment, you know. There was a thing I wanted and I got it. It feels really, really good. But what's critical in this for me is that in this particular example, in this one stupid example, there are no conditions placed on finding that new pair of pants. I don't say, oh, if I don't find a pair of pants today, then ... whatever that is. It's just kind of serendipitous when it happens. It's like bumping into a friend. You don't know you're going to do it, and then you do it. And of course, you could go back, you could reverse engineer that moment, and you can say, on some level, I did want to bump into a friend, because bumping into friends is something I like. And it happened. But there was no attachment to it, because there was no condition placed on it. This condition, I think, is what many of us are probably carrying all the time, but we can notice it as we walk into the new year. How many we're holding. And I'm speaking to myself. I have all sorts of these things. I have them with the state of the world, you know, with politics. I have them with everyone's health, of course, and looking forward to the vaccines and looking at how everyone is living and hoping that those things change. I have them in the work that I do. I have them in relationship to my family. I have them in relationship to my own projects and the way that I kind of will beat myself up if I don't achieve certain things. And in all these cases, in different ways, what I say is not just, I want that. Not just, I want that to change. There's a sentence that's a little different, and it goes, if that doesn't change, then something. It's like I'm trying to negotiate with the universe. I'm deciding that if I don't get the thing that I want, or if things don't go in the way that I hope that they will, that I have a predetermined response to that. I will be angry. I will feel disrespected. I will see myself as a failure. Whatever that is. Whoever it's aimed at. Ask yourself, what is that sentence for you? I don't mean there's one, because you might have 100. You might have 1,000. You know that something should happen. You know that something should come to you. You know that something should change. And because you know that it should, you also know what it will mean if it doesn't happen. This is placing conditions on the world. And I want to be very clear about this distinction between wanting and attaching to something. There's nothing wrong with wanting. There's nothing wrong with wanting the world to be better. There's nothing wrong with wanting people to be healthy. That's the most natural thing. The attachment, the poison, is when we decide now how we're going to feel then. It's when we strike a bargain with the universe and say, you'd better listen, or else. Catch yourself doing this. Notice it. Sometimes we say it out loud. But more often, I think, we feel it. We have an expectation. And we know that it may not be met. And so we also have a price. Something will be severed. Something will be lost. Something will shift. There will be a feeling, a distancing, move. So that when that moment arrives, if it arrives, we have cut off our ability to meet it in that moment. We have cut off the possibility that when it really happens, when it's really going on, that we might meet it in a different way. Because we've already signed the papers. This is really hard. It's a hard line to walk. It's so subtle. Between recognizing how things maybe should be and giving ourselves permission to kind of punish the world or ourselves when it doesn't go that way. It's a way of exerting control over the things over which we have no control. And it benefits no one. It just makes our lives heavier. So, while this is true all year, and is something I need to tell myself all year, I invite you in these coming days when things are quiet, and when you're feeling that countdown to something that feels new. Think about what you want from that. Think about what you think might be coming. Think about all those hopes. And then, not because they're wrong, but because they're a burden, put them down. Just put them down. And walk naked into the new year. Available to whatever is next. Vulnerable and exposed and ready. I'll stop there.